Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Koenig, and to remind everyone about what I'm doing, am researching and interviewing the Best Buddies community on Creighton University's campus. So initially, I wanted to show everyone about this amazing community by interviewing and filming our best buddies themselves. And unfortunately, we cannot do that, but that's okay. So today I am going to talk about the community itself, but also I've interviewed Creighton members of the Best Buddies community who have participated in it. So I sat down and I talked to them, so you guys get to know what it's really like in this wonderful community. So to refresh everyone, Best Buddies is a national organization in which we have a chapter on Creighton's campus, and it is where students can partner with someone who has an intellectual and sometimes physical disability. And at Creighton, for example, we talk to our buddies at least once a week through social media, email, on the phone, etc. And excuse me, we also are required to see our buddies at least once a month. So the language used in Best Buddies is very apparent, prevalent, and important to the Best Buddy community as a whole. And Noah and Franny, who are both executives for Best Buddies, will be talking more about it.
Yeah, so person first language is basically a way of talking about individuals with disabilities that makes you acknowledge them as a person and their disability. So you're acknowledging both parts, but it's like you don't see the disability first. So rather than saying a handicapped person, a person who is handicapped, instead of a disabled person, you say a person who is disabled. It's just a more respectful. You're not, because I think that if you speak about it like a disabled person, you're almost like saying that they're less human. Mm-hmm. You are acknowledging something else that's before you're acknowledging that they're human. So person first language is something that we try really hard to promote, and that's why at the first meeting, our informational meeting, even if people go to that and they decide that they don't want to join the club, at least then they have a better understanding of the correct way to speak about individuals with disabilities and to interact with them.
Yeah. We do something called spread the word to end the word. So talking about inclusion and being more inclusive in your language, and kind of a lot of it's about accessibility. So thinking about the world around you and how you interact with other people and how other people may have barriers to access.
So just to give you guys a little backstory of why I decided to join Best Buddies and why I wanted to do this project on it, is that I worked with people with special needs and disabilities during my high school career, and this population is very important to me. I have had experiences with people in my family with disabilities, and sometimes seeing how other people would treat them or just the difficulties that they faced in our society, which is just so fast paced and sometimes not always the most accommodating or understanding. It's hard, and I feel like a lot of people aren't always comfortable around people with special needs and disabilities, which I understand. When you're not, surrounded by someone who is different, then sometimes it's naturally uncomfortable. That's like that with everything in life. So I wanted to make this video about, Best Buddies so I can inform more people about people with developmental disabilities and how they're not really different from us in any way. They're normal people. They have jobs. They like to do fun things just like us. So the Best Buddies Club, unlike many other clubs on Creighton's campus, doesn't really meet on a scheduled weekly basis. The buddies usually hang out on their own. And then sometimes for special occasions like holidays, Creighton Best Buddies will host an event. For example, I know they do a talent show in the spring, and they do a Christmas party obviously during December. So I asked Bethany, who is also on the exec team, what her favorite event that Best Buddies puts on is. And I also asked Franny to tell us more about her relationship with her buddy and what they like to do.
Oh, that's hard. I think my favorite event is the talent show. So in the spring semester, all of the buddies have a different act. So that might be like singing or dancing. One person did magic last year. And so we just all get together in Harper Auditorium and we just put on this huge talent show, and then everybody gets an award, you know, for like the best singer or like the best musician, all that stuff. So it's just so much fun to cheer them on.
Can you tell us like a little bit about your buddy and what you do with your buddy?
Sure. I was paired with Monica my freshman year, so gosh, this is our 4th year together now, like as of this month. Her and Monica's about 40 years old. She lives actually in a house with another family. They have 3 little girls, so they're super busy. She goes to Ollie Webb, which is kind of like a day program. She calls it school, so she does a lot of activities with her friends there. And then she works at McDonald's on Saturdays. So sometimes on weeknights I'll pick her up, go to dinner, go to movies. On the weekend she spends time with her mom. Her parents are divorced, so she goes home with her mom Saturday nights and then goes to mass on Sundays. And then Sundays we usually do the Best Buddies events, so she loves anything with sports. She likes movies, and then she likes just like talking. She also likes country music, which is really fun. We've gone to the College World Series the past or twice now, so that's been a highlight.
So I actually just partnered up with my buddy. We met on a Sunday, and her name is Evie. I don't quite know how old she is. I think maybe she's in her 30s or 40s, but she's super cool. We haven't really had a lot of time to hang out yet, but right when we get back, I think in October, we're going to go to a pumpkin patch. So I'm super excited for that. She's really funny, from what I can tell. She's a dry sense of humor, which I love. And yeah, and I'm super excited for us to hopefully grow into a closer relationship. Buddies is a little more unorthodox since they don't really have scheduled weekly meetings as a club. However, each Best Buddies chapter on a college campus has to be affiliated with a Ollie Webb center.
Since Best Buddies started at Creighton, we've been partnered with Ollie Webb because they are a program where a lot of adults with intellectual disabilities spend their time, so we're able to communicate with their parents fairly easily because we kind of already build that rapport, saying that we're Creighton Best Buddies, but we also have Ollie Webb. And then there's actually kind of coincidence, since last year there's been a change with the host site coordinator, so we have to have like an advisor there, and it's a past Creighton student. So Alexa Edwards was the president at Creighton Best Buddies, and now she's in OT school here at Creighton, and now she works for Ollie Webb, so it's perfect.
As Franny mentioned earlier, Best Buddies is affiliated with the Ollie Webb Center in Omaha, and that is because that is where often all the buddies go there for school and other activities. So if you plug in the address on Google Maps, this is where it takes you to. So you guys have heard a lot about what Best Buddies does on Creighton, and you've seen the map, you've learned about the language of the community, but now Bethany is going to tell us why she thinks it's a great club to be a part of.
Best Buddies is, I think, personally the best organization to be a part of at Creighton, because very much I feel like everybody surrounds themselves with people that are very similar to themselves, and being here on campus, we're all with people that are like the same age, like pretty much the same ambitions, and so it's important to just reach out of your like comfort zone and meet other people and realize that not everybody has the same life or the same ambitions or the same background as yourself. So I think it's really important to just be well-rounded and aware of that. And then like I said earlier, like we have so many similarities too that I don't know, we're just all the same, you know?
Yeah. And how what does the Best Buddy community mean to you? Like what does that look like? How would you, I mean, you kind of touched upon that already, but like how would you characterize that community?
It's so much fun and just like super sweet people. Like everybody that's a part of the community and all of the buddies and all the parents, like whenever we all get together, it's just so much fun. It's filled with so much laughter and just great times, and I feel like it's a great way to kind of like escape your worries of college and for them to also forget about their everyday hardships that they have to face every day and just get together and just have a good time. And the Best Buddies community is just amazing because everybody's passionate about working with people that may have some sort of disability, but yeah, it's a great community.
For service hours, we really stress that it's really just building a friendship and like being a peer to somebody else. So you're not necessarily you're kind of mentors to each other, but it's not like you're serving another person. You're really just spending time with your friends. So we really stress that, and that's kind of what I believe.
And in this article, Gramsci talks about how he argues that everyone is intellectual. There's no such thing as a non-intellectual, which, you know, in our society and back then is kind of controversial. Oftentimes people are like, oh, if you didn't get this schooling or you don't have this degree or specialization, then you're not an intellectual. However, Gramsci argues that everyone is in their own way, and this is what is known as organic intellectualism. And this definitely relates to the Best Buddies Club because working with people with developmental disabilities, people often have the misconception that they're not an intellectual, they don't know anything because they're slower. And that is certainly not the case at all. And this is like, I can apply Gramsci's argument or idea of what organic intellectualism is to this population of people and how, despite their disability, they are capable of so many things, and they do stuff sometimes in a more creative way. So my second article again comes from the text writing communities, and the author Carmen Kennard is an associate professor at John Jay College. So while Kennard talks about hush harbors in relation to African Americans, and especially in regards to institutions and college campuses and universities, hush harbors can still be applied to the population of people with developmental disabilities. So Kennard defines hush harbors kind of as a safe space where it's not really known. It's kind of like a hidden thing where people come together to talk about. And this is definitely seen in the community of people with disabilities. Like oftentimes in society, people with disabilities still continue to be marginalized. We have come a long way, of course, but we can always do better. And unfortunately, people with disabilities and this community as a whole sometimes feel this way to have to hide in hush harbors because society still is not always accepting of them. So Father Arupe is a Jesuit priest, and in 1973 he gave an address to a Congress of Jesuit alumni. And in this address, he mainly focuses on the Jesuit value men and women for and with others. Arupe reminds us that Jesus became a brother and sister to the marginalized in his society at the time. He became friends with the poor, the crippled, and the women, the prostitutes, the slaves, all of that. And Arupe is basically calling us to do the same. And Arupe's address most definitely applies to this population of people with developmental disabilities because, as I've mentioned before in this video, this population still continues to sometimes be marginalized in our society, especially in other countries that don't have the same resources that we do here in America. And we have a obligation to stand with these people and fight for these people and be the voice that sometimes this population cannot always be for themselves. So to go off of both of my articles, I would say that the two Jesuit values that can definitely be applied to the Best Buddies Club, and that even though I'm a newcomer to this club, I definitely see very prevalent the men and women for and with others. And despite, people's differences, we all come together. We all come and have a fun time. We're all passionate for each other, and we're all there to support each other and just make new friends. And the second judgment of value that I see within the Best Buddies community, and that is definitely prevalent as well, is cura personalis, which in Latin means care for the entire person. Um, and this can definitely, I see this definitely in the club, as, you know, again, every person, despite their differences or capabilities, has dignity. There is no one person who is better than another. We're all equal in that sense. We all have human dignity, and we can all care for each and every one. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening to me, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I sat down and I just kind of talked to you guys a lot, but I really hope that you learned something new and that maybe you'll go up and sign for Best Buddies and join the community next year. So thank you.